Hello folks, good evening and welcome back to the life and suffering of one Sir Benedict Brante. Right. Good evening all. Good afternoon even to some of you. Oh, and yes, well, the less said about that dull affair the better. Right, anyway. Where did we leave off last time? As an 18-year-old whippersnapper, that's where, apparently, midway through our youth. So, things went relatively well last time. We didn't die. It's always a positive, isn't it? We became a priest, which is what we wanted to do. So, yeah. Let's see if we can continue on that kind of theme, because that would be beneficial. Right, we're going to just dive straight in, folks. We'll chit-chat as we're going on through, I'm sure. But, you know, we're eager to see what's happening here. Okay, so, the Black Book. Now, when somebody says to me the Black Book, it's usually meaning something along the lines of, you know, a black book with a list of names in it. Oh, no problem, Hurt Cupboard. It's a royal pain in the arse. When that kind of thing happens, hopefully they'll do something about it. Bear with me. It's time to put my phone on mute or to chuck it halfway across the room. Damn thing beeping at me. How was Mother's Day lunch? It was very filling. We had it at we got there about 1:20. It was Facenda's, which is a kind of an all-you-can-eat affair, big, massive salad bar. So, you know, salad that I put on my plate consisted of a boiled egg and some coleslaw and some beetroot and some cucumbers and some fresh cheese and some portocini mushrooms in a marinade and some mayonnaise. And then there was the sides, which was creamy garlic mushrooms and some parmesan and truffle chips and some truffle and cheese sauce. And then the meat came, which consisted of chicken thighs, consisted of 2 helpings of lamb, because that's my favourite meat, 3 different cuts of steak, and some belly pork as well. Oh yeah, and a sausage on top. So that was my light lunch, which has left me very stuffed. And then I ordered a dessert thinking, you know what, I'll have a dessert, why not? And then I got some churros, those little fried things that they give you in these kind of South American parts of the world, or Spain even too. And ate only little things about that big, filled with toffee sauce. And there was 8 of them. And I managed 2 before I was like, I can't put another thing in my mouth. I'm going to burst. So that was obviously at sort of 1:20, between 1:20 and 2:15. It's now, what, 20 to 8, and I'm still not hungry. There'll be no dinner this evening. There might be a light supper, which consists of a cup of tea and maybe a couple of crackers or something. Or maybe even a bit of peanut butter and toast. I don't know, something light after I finish streaming, because I'm stuffed. So that's how it was. But the main thing was, it was completely and utterly delicious, of course. Yes. Anyway, we move on to a healthy week, because I'm off to London. Coming to your part of the world, Jam. I'm coming to London on Friday for the next weekend. So there'll be some form of stuffing my face next weekend too. Happy days. Right, anyway, you finished a session of Pathfinder. Had a great time. You're talking pen and paper Pathfinder, I'm assuming. Either which way. The Strand. Oh, I don't think we'll be going into deepest, darkest London. No, no, no. We'll be staying in a little village just outside, or the outskirts of London, and we'll be just pottering about a little bit. One of the plans is to watch John Wick 4 when we're down there, so that's going to take up a bit of time, and go grab some breakfast, and a trip to Southall is required for some oils. Get some oils from down there. Do you know the little scented oils that you can buy? Aftershave oils. Oh, over the internet. So no actual pens or paper. Oh, that's cheating. It's cheating. Oh, I didn't see your email. Now, before we go on, I was intending to start, but we'll get this out of the way first. I checked after the last stream when you mentioned about the email address, so I gave you my email address, and I thought, oh, you're going to send something. So I gave it about, I don't know, 15 minutes, because I'm an impatient person, clearly. And then I went into the inbox and nothing was there. So I thought, oh, okay, I'll check later. Clearly forgot to check because I got distracted. Now I get sent. God knows how these people find me. I think my email address is on the channel page somewhere. Because I get an absolute plethora of emails from spam and from developers and stuff throwing keys at you, and the last time I checked that email address was for the Christmas comedy clips, because I don't check it at all. It's just there. So whilst I was in looking for your email, I went through the list of games that the developers say, here's a key, try this game out. And it's usually no offence to the poor people, but usually it's not my cup of tea. I'll put it diplomatically. It's not my cup of tea, some of the stuff that gets sent through. But then one game caught my eye, which was right at the top of the inbox list, because it must have been sent recently. And the game was called, and I posted it in the Discord server because it looked really interesting, actually. It was called... Okay, I'm going to have to cheat now. Contraband Police. It was called Contraband Police. And so I thought, ooh, anything with the word police in the title grabs my attention naturally. So I thought, ooh, I'm going to Google this and see actually what this looks like. And then check out the Steam reviews and all that kind of jazz. And I think it's actually still in alpha stage, actually, this game. And it got some good reviews. I was like, oh. And apparently it's like a bit of a Papers, Please type of thing crossed with maybe something else. But it looked fun. So I actually took the Steam key that was sent to me via email. It's the first time I've ever done that. So if I do I will end up playing the game. I'll give them thanks for dropping that into my email address. Very kind of them. So I'll give them a shout out, the developers. I think it's only fair if I play the game and they've given me the Steam key. It's very kind of them. But it does look like it just actually for the first time, it looks like it's something that would be quite up my alley and would make for a good stream series. So we'll get to that at some point this year. Or next. Depends how the schedule goes, I suppose. But anyway. Feel free to check it out yourselves, but you can wait until I play it to get to cast your judgments. But because the Easter Steam sale is now on, so it might be in the Steam sale. Who knows? But if we'll see. I need to look in the Steam sale myself for any potential gems. Yes, exactly. With the ever-growing list of games that clearly I'm not getting through at any great rate of knots. If I'm developing a cough here, this is not good because this is going to be a lot of reading. 3 to 5 years. Oh, ye have little faith. Don't forget we've got so many things. I'm not talking about main LPs like Three Kingdoms, clearly, Baldur's Gate 3, clearly, Mount and Blade 2, all these kind of really long affairs, Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous, all these games that are coming soon. Soon being within 2 years, maybe. But I'm talking about the side stuff as well. You know, like Contraband Police, for example, or Plague Tale Requiem, for example, too. Maybe some other form of F1 or Forza 8 is coming out, or 7, whatever it is. Forza 7, I don't know. One of the new Forzas coming out back into this year. I might want to stream some of that for a side series. You know, there's also the game that was gifted by you, Chris, in the anniversary stream. The RPG pen and papery type affair. The name escapes me. Wildermyth, that's the one. That's on the list too. You see all these little things. Darkest Dungeon. I don't know why. Darkest Dungeon 2 got released in a kind of a beta stage, alpha stage, pre-release stage. I've not followed that for a little while, but is that making any headway into looking like a full release kind of thing? I mean, I won't mind giving that a go when it comes out. You know, these it's just too much. Too many games, too little time, you know? No, let's not skip forward, please. I haven't read this yet. Oh, if only I didn't have to work full time. I could get through all these games and have time to spin some plates and mop the floor. May the 8th. Well, go figure. I'm there talking about it, and it's been released in like just less than 2 months' time. Wow. And May the 8th is 2 days before my birthday. Could be a birthday treat. Start of a new series. Yeah, could be. Yeah, if any of you win the lottery and want to see more regular content, you just have to give me 40 grand a year. It's not, that's all my services cost for full time, for full time LPing. I'm sure I can manage on 40 grand a year. Not that I'd be greedy or anything, but I've got a certain lifestyle to uphold, you know. Anyway, let's dive on to the Black Book. The Black Book. It is not that I push this as a job, clearly not, because I don't want to feel like a job, because that's why I've done this for 13 years, because it's a hobby. But it would be when I was out of work for 16 months, well 14 months actually, when I left the police and was playing Witcher 3 and Metal Gear Solid 5. I really enjoyed that 14 months. I really enjoyed it. I was LPing regularly. I had time to just get out of bed when I wanted, no boss to answer to. Oh, it was great. It was great. So if ever I win the lottery, you know, who knows? All my Christmases could come together at once. No, I don't want to become a full-time actually through doing it, because it will start to feel like a job, and it will take the pleasure out of it, I'm sure. And I'll be starting to look at figures and numbers and having to cut series because they don't pull enough viewers in to earn me an income and all that kind of jazz that they do, which I don't have to do. So I can play what I want, when I want, and how I want, which is the freedom that I really enjoy. So I'd have to be able to do it because I'm financially able to do it, so that I can still do what I want, when I want, etc. And one final tidbit before we do dive into the game. Speaking of winning the lottery, I don't really do scratch cards at all. But we were in Sainsbury's, me and a friend, and and we were stood. She was buying some cigarettes. She buys cigarettes, dirty habit. But and they obviously keep them where the scratch cards are. And I was stood there, and for whatever reason, I was like, "Buy a scratch card." And she went, "What?" I went, I just had a very strange feeling that if we buy a scratch card, we're going to win something. Don't ask me why, just do it. Don't question it. And if she was here, she'd tell you this is the God's honest truth. First scratch card bought for about 2 years, maybe even more. Just whatever reason, I buy a scratch card now. Scratched it. She went, okay, here you go, scratch it off. Scratched it off. Now I was hoping that this epiphany that happened to me was the sign that I was going to win. The maximum prize, I think, was 100 grand on the scratch card. Clearly didn't win 100 grand, otherwise I'd have told you about it by now. But we won a fiver. We won a fiver, which clearly is not going to, it's not a fortune, but it was a win. And I was certain, something, I don't know why, but as I said, it was a very strange experience. But I was like, buy a scratch card, we're going to win. I just know it. And it was a fiver. But nevertheless, my feeling did come to pass. Just need to do that again on the National Lottery or the Euro Millions and have it be a big win rather than a fiver. But anyway, I'll stick to the sports trading for now. Yes. Okay, let's go. Black Book. Thank you for that entertaining conversation, folks. And don't forget that the anniversary party stream for my 13-year anniversary is now less than a month away. We better start, I better do a video update very soon, and we better start planning for this stream extravaganza so that we can get some stuff in the old agenda. So flim flam over. Until next time. Next stream, by the way, will be not tomorrow because I'm going to Manchester to work and I'll be going out for a couple of drinks afterwards too, so I won't be streaming tomorrow, but I will be streaming on Tuesday because there's no football for a little while, as I said last week. Yes, okay. Okay, just one last thing. So when I went to Northampton, right? I went to Northampton on Thursday for a work conference. It was the first conference for our function at work since 2019, and the dreaded C word, you know. So it was nice for us to see each other again for the first time because we're a national team. So we've got like 6 complaints teams across the country. We're all doing the same job, but we managed, you know, across 6 different sites, so that it's nice for us all to come together and see each other. And also we've had a lot of trainees over the past 12 months. I think about 30 odd trainees come through, so the function looks really different to how it did even just 12 months ago. So it was a really, really good time. But we were driving to Northampton, and I was just following my sat-nav. I was the designated driver because I like driving, so I got this hire car from work. They booked this hire car. It was a Mazda CX-5, this big Mazda thing, like a people carrier type thing, but with 5 seats, but really large car, big boot, you know, almost like a X5, XC90 type thing. 5 seats, but just big. Which was nice. It was quite nice. A bit sluggish compared to my little nippy Fiesta ST. But anyway, we were driving to the conference, and I didn't know, but as we were driving past, Hotel Chocolat, the big factory, was literally right on the, as we were just driving off the M1 to go into Northampton. And I said, look at that, to the 4 passengers. I said, we'll go in there. So yeah, I got my mum a Mother's Day present, a Hotel Chocolat box. But I got myself, and I just thought I'd show this to you actually, because Easter is just around the corner, folks. This lovely, something different there. You know, everybody gets Easter eggs, right? This is an Easter egg sandwich from Hotel Chocolat. So you've got an egg between like 2 bits of chocolate, and it's white and caramel milk chocolate, which I can't clearly open until Easter, but it does look absolutely flipping delicious. Because I love white chocolate, I like caramel, so this is a bloody 11 quid this was, because it's not cheap, Hotel Chocolat, you know. So it was a factory shop, which was right, obviously, next to the factory. There it is. It looks absolutely fantastic. So looking forward to tucking into that on Easter Sunday, I tell you. And I've also got a bag. Sorry. Look, I haven't seen you guys for a while, all right? Flim flam's lasting 20 minutes today. There was for the cheap price of only £6.50. You could get the misshapes. You know, you go to Cadbury's misshapes, it'd be £1. You go to Hotel Chocolat misshapes, rather than being 10 quid, it's £6.50. But it's misshapen little chocolatey things. You can't really see them very well, but it's like a, you see that? What these are basically are layers of custard and rhubarb white chocolate ganache in milk chocolate shell with a decorated vanilla seeded white chocolate. The bag weighs a ton. Now these aren't for Easter, these are for opening whenever we feel like it. So I might open one of these tomorrow. So there you go, that was my little... £45 on chocolate is what I spent in the place. Can you believe that? I could get 3 bottles of rum for that price. Anyway, yes, thank you for that, Ollie. It is indeed. Right, okay, so let's dive in. We'll try to finally start now. The Black Book. As I said, black books conjure images of a book of names and numbers and conquests, but hey, that's just my seeded mind at work. I don't love chocolate that much. Hey, it's not every day you drive past the Hotel Chocolat factory, okay? Once in a lifetime, because I ain't going back to Northampton in a rush. There wasn't much there, I'll be honest. If you're living anywhere near Northampton, I apologise, but when bars and pubs close at 12, that's not a place I need to be living in. No. They turfed us out on the Wetherspoons at 12. I'm like, it's 12 o'clock. Don't you close a bit later than this? No. The McDonald's was closed. What kind of a McDonald's closes at 12 and does not open 24 hours a day? A McDonald's in a town and not a city, clearly. Like, oh my God. Must be bad if McDonald's is closed. Anyway. The Black Book. Your studies at the seminary continue. You assist with the preparations for church holidays and study the accounts of the twins' lives in the sacred scriptures. The seminary sends some of its students on a pilgrimage to holy sites of the empire to follow in the footsteps of one of the twins. A large group of these pilgrims returns to the seminary several weeks after your studies begin. Among the students in the group is a young woman who looks familiar. She holds her head high as her brown eyes filled with wisdom and strength study you attentively. She approaches you first. It's Jean. You met in the past by the silver tree in Anisot. Jean was but an acolyte at the temple by the tree at the time, but now she's an eterna like you, almost ready to complete her studies. Yes, the girl, we followed her inside the temple, if you remember, to get away from the preacher. I remember you. I'm glad you're here. So you found your way to the priestly lot after all. Indeed we did. It's nice to see a familiar face from your former life. You start spending more time with Jean, praying and reading the sacred scriptures together. He's a bit of a Casanova as our Benedict, isn't he? But you can't now, you're a priest, sonny Jim. You can't now. It's a good job you had that first night of debauchery, because now you ain't got a choice. Man of the cloth now. Most of the time, you discuss theology. But the more you learn about each other, the more you start discussing your lives before the seminary. You tell her how Mother prepared you to serve the twins ever since you were a child, from daily prayers to following your lot in everything. Can priests have relations in this law? We're about to find out, probably. It's okay if you keep it in the clergy. Yeah. What happens in the clergy stays in the clergy. As for me, I don't know who my parents are. I grew up in the orphanage by the temple. Studying at the seminary has been my goal since as long as I can remember. The priests were kind to me, and now it is my sacred duty to serve the twins. Workarounds. There's always a workaround. With the first term exams now behind you, you're allowed to visit the antiquarium, a special storage chamber for sacred relics and artifacts that harken back to the history of the faith. You invite Jean to go there with you. The inside of the antiquarium is quiet. The items you see beyond the glass panes and on the shelves are nothing short of amazing. One thick ragged tome is an original work inked by Isatius. You see old images of the twins' likenesses, faded with time. You behold the lash used in the very first sacraments for the lowborn lot. The relics are made of silver. The twins' blessed metal are kept in a separate chamber. You take some time poring over these handcrafted sacred symbols. The shelves on the opposite wall are covered with silver collars, large and small. They're so elegant. The things we make are much simpler nowadays, always cast from silver, not forged by hand. Look, those old collars even had names stamped into the silver. Another wall is covered with thin silver slabs, prayers to the twins etched into the metal. After taking the priest's sacrament, any priest may use such a silver slab to call the gods' power down upon their foes and work wonders, even outside the temple grounds. Do you think these might be copies? Silver slabs disappear when they're used, don't they? Just imagine the temptation, working wonders anywhere just like that. There is one more chamber at the farthest end of the antiquarium, with only one relic within. The only room here that is guarded. Your voice trails off when Jean and you feel the eyes of the chamber guard upon you. He bears a scroll with a silver seal on his cassock. An inquisitor. What the inquisitor is guarding is a black book, its pages blackened, seemingly by fire. The book lies inside a spacious cage forged of time-faded silver. You are not allowed to approach it, the inquisitor says. What is it? You ask. The inquisitor sighs and glances at the silver cage with worry and scorn. This is the most dangerous and vile of all the relics in the land, he says. It is a monument to the Dark Ages, when Archnians used to fight one another for power, a time when one of the great Archnian dynasties defied the twins, chosen Tempests. The Archnian who owned this book was Char Milanidas. Driven by helpless rage, he scorched the land of Magra and ravaged the imperial army with a terrible curse. But the twins' power stripped him of his dark sorcery, and the Holy Order brought him down. The book within this cage contains his sinister spells. What the Inquisitors say seems unbelievable. The books you have read say that all of Melanidas' relics were destroyed. He explains, however. Apparently the book was utterly impossible to immolate. Even with the god's divine aid, the countless raging pyres it was subjected to could only blacken the pages with ash, but not destroy them. The dark magic remains within the book, preserving its blasphemous sorcery. But the book alone was not enough. The rebellious duke turned his very land into a weapon by destroying it. The Holy Order, the swords of the twins, surrounded Melanidas' forces along with the imperial army. Their victories were numerous, for true faith guided them towards the city of Anizot. With no other way to prolong the war and nourish his magical powers, the rebellious duke squeezed all life from the land of Magra and transformed it into dark sorcery. And so the province of Magra, ruled by Char Melanidas, became an infertile desert during that war. The people of Melanidas began dying from sickness and famine, and many fled to the neighbouring lands. Yet this evil act did little to stop the twins' true believers. By the prayer of the priests, the gods took away the dark magic of Char Melanidas and dispelled the accursed sorcery he had wrought. The Holy Order dealt swiftly with the remnants of Melanidas' army, while the Inquisition captured all the mages and witches hiding in Anizot. Char Melanidas himself was executed as an oathbreaker possessed by heresy who had destroyed the fertile lands of Magra and starved thousands of his subjects to death. Be wary of magic, for magic is an ungodly power that distorts and plagues all it touches, and so must be eradicated, the Inquisitor concludes. These words seem to affect Jean deeply. She turns pale and walks out of the room containing the encaged book. You thank the priest for his story and follow her. You find the poor girl sitting on a bench in the park by the temple, her face hidden in her arms. You lightly tap her on the shoulder and ask what is troubling her. When I came to Eterna, I wasn't alone, you know. I had a friend, almost a sister. Her name is Alice. I had one goal here, to serve the twins, but she wanted to be an actress. I argued against it, told her that acting was in defiance of her lot, but Alice wouldn't listen. She's performing in taverns now and in markets on holidays. I went to one of her performances once, just the other day, in fact. and I saw her eyes glowing yellow. Every time her eyes flashed, the people would applaud her. She's not just defying the lot, she's using magic. Ailys is practicing the dark arts, confounding people's minds with sorcery. I was far enough away, her spell didn't reach me. I want to, but I can't tell the Inquisition about her. Ailys is my only real friend in the world, and she's a witch. I don't know what to do. Jean's shoulders tremble with anxiety. Her brown eyes are red with tears as she looks at you, hoping for guidance that will save her from error. What do you tell Jean? Guide your friend to the right path. So you convince Jean to give... I'm not looking at the sides yet. You convince Jean to give counsel to her friend and guide her to the right path. Okay, so it... No! Let Ailys crack on with what Ailys is doing, is what I say. Why interfere? It's like my own sister who's practicing poetry in the cellars. No. Let people live their lives, is what we say. Yes, let the corruption start. Let the corruption from within start now. Well, we've already started it, actually. We give those papers to our tutor that we wrote in the last session, which clearly he was not happy with, if you remember. So we've already started. So yes, let's turn the other cheek. We've done it once ourselves. Let's practice what we preach. Yeah, let's not be a hypocrite now. So we shall tell Jean to tell no one about Ailys. She's your friend. She's not harming anybody. She's providing entertainment. To hell with it. Okay, so let's have a look at the other options. So the other options would have yielded Ailys's rescue destiny, increased our manipulation, and relations with Jean would have been wavering. Instead, or alternatively, we could have informed the Inquisition, which would give us valour. It would have mean that Ailys would have suffered a true death. Oh, that's harsh. And Jean would have been zealous. She's manipulating people's minds with magic. Is she really? I don't think so. She's putting on performances, man. Let's not be malicious about it. Let's not think about this in a malicious manner. We're an 18-year-old naive person here. She's not doing... No, she's just using it for entertainment purposes. Tell nobody. Ailys's rescue destiny also crops up again here. We get a +1 for scheming. Jean is steadfast in her faith, and Ailys joins the troop. Yeah, perfect. You look away from Jean and ask her a question. Does she feel any evil in Ailys's heart? Would she ever use that power to harm others? Jean shakes her head. No, Ailys would never do that. But what will she face in the hereafter? How will she be judged? If this is true, you say, then there is no need for the Inquisition. So you see, we're just questioning her, making sure that Ailys's intentions are purely good, and as her friend, sister almost, she mentioned, if she'd have said, well, I'm not sure, could have been a bit more dangerous, but no, she's categorically stated that there's no evil in Ailys's heart, which is good enough for us. Why do you say that? Because your friend is no Char Milanidas, you say. She is not killing land, she is not defying the gods' chosen order, she is not starving thousands of people. No, she is basically performing a play or something, you know. Come on, let's get some sense of perspective here. And as per your own reckoning, she will never harm others. If Ailys remains free, she will have a choice to willingly reject her accursed power and accept the lot she was dealt. But if the Inquisition finds her, she will be stripped of her lot and turned into a limp mockery of a human, bound in a silver collar. Or worse, she will never find her way to the twins in the House of Humility. How dare you say such a thing? This is heresy. The twins abhor all magic. The twins gave people the lots, you say, and they gave them the will to live their lives. The younger shall meet us all in the hereafter, and every decision shall be judged. The mages have their own burden to bear, their own trial to overcome, and that trial is their power. They must overcome it, or fail and face punishment at the foot of the pillar. Jean leaps to her feet, anger burning in her tearful eyes. What if the Inquisition finds her? They'll burn her at the stake, and then what? Before that happens, Jean should talk to her friend and explain her situation, you say. Jean must take care of her and teach her how to hide her power. The best way for a witch to stay alive would be to flee Eterna and join a travelling troupe. Get us, you know. It's like an episode of Dear Deirdre. Dear Deirdre, I've got a friend, so what do I do? Well, let me sit down and have a cup of tea and read this little piece, and I shall tell you. Jean thanks you. Her voice rings with calm confidence now. She sees that firm faith does not mean zealous dogmatism, you realise. She has had to break the law for the sake of love. The twins are law, yet the twins are also love. You know, basically, we can twist this in whichever way we see fit. You know. So she is now steadfast in faith. She is a zealous adherent of the old faith and the teachings of Asatius. For now, till we finished with her and made her see sense. She could be our first test subject in our quest to guide these people to the right path. What's his status? We do not know. Joined a troop. Oh, there you go. It's just come up. We have become a bit more schemy. One more point, or we might become dangerous. Oh no, we're on 10 at the moment. No, sorry, 10 to 12. So we're now a conspirator. Your talent for inciting riots, organising ambushes, and plotting murders and assaults and sabotage. Oh, us? Don't be silly. Don't be silly. Inciting riots and sabotage and assaults. Don't go that far. Yet. Event has happened. Aelis's death is prevented. You save the enigmatic singer known as the Golden Voice from an untimely death. Maybe we'll get to hear her golden voice in the future, whilst, I don't know, sipping on something and having one's feet up. Maybe when we've left the clergy, after we've destroyed it from within. Destroy is a strong word. It's the summer of 1136, the Feast of the Air. The capital is preparing for a great celebration, the coming of age of Gerion Tempest, heir to the throne. Ribbons and flags flutter in the wind, the streets are scrubbed clean, and the scent of flowers fills the air. You too set some time aside to join the celebration. It's not often that you can see the ruling family of the Empire firsthand. The celebration day comes, and Eterna is abuzz. A festive procession starts on the streets. Students from the college and cadets from the military academy march in front, lined up in columns, and other citizens follow suit. You join the parade around the tail of the procession. Before long, it reaches the square in front of the Emperor's palace. The ruling dynasty of Tempests observes the parade from the palace balcony. They are joined by the Empire's highest dignitaries and province overseers. For the first time in your life, you see Emperor Uther II with your own eyes, there, high up above. The columns of college students and academy cadets comes to a halt at the balcony and salute the Emperor with their mottos. The Emperor raises his hand in a gesture of benevolent greeting. Then his voice echoes across the square. You can hear him easily, even from so far away. I accept your gratitude, my loyal subjects. Take pride as you wield your knowledge and valour in service to the Empire. All who are worthy will be ennobled by the mantle, by my grace. The nobles-to-be cheer the Emperor's words, but then Archduke Monrog steps onto the balcony, and their jubilation gives way to murmurs of discontent. Everyone here remembers all too well how the ruler of Monia tried to shut down the college by force. Still, the Archduke is the de facto leader of the Arknian gentry. He is a force to be reckoned with, even for the Emperor. Hail, your Emperor, common folk! Be forever obedient and grateful for the good graces you do not deserve by birth. But then everyone grows silent. A young, slender Arknian with a shy smile comes forth. There are whispers in the crowd. That's Prince Gerion, heir to the throne, student of Cornelius, promise and the hope of the common estate. To the left of Gerion is his younger brother Flavius. He is baffled at the sight of the parade below, too young to process what he is seeing. May the twins be kind to you, my future subjects. I promise to repay you in kind and help you prosper in your loyal service to the Empire. Exalted by these words, the nobles-to-be roar as one. All hail Prince Gerion! Another figure steps into view next to the heir. He is an Arknian, elegantly dressed, and his mantle bears the Tempest colours. He raises his arms, about to make a speech. Long live Prince Gerion! Students of the college, cadets of the academy, time and again you have proven yourselves to the Empire by word and deed. Today is a day of great celebration, and in honour of Prince Gerion, you must ask the Emperor to guarantee forever the right of distinguished common folk to be ennobled by the mantle. So ask now. The cadets and students freeze in hesitation. They exchange glances, unsure whether to follow the words of the Emperor's own brother. On the balcony high above, Prince Gerion also remains still, listening to every reaction from the crowd. Archduke Monrog briskly steps into view once more. He takes several seconds to observe the crowd before he speaks. Imperial subjects. What the Emperor's brother wishes to say is that you must always remember that you owe your status to the Tempest dynasty. The Emperor accepts your gratitude and sends you off with his blessing. You may leave now. Commotion and murmur spreads over the crowd as some of the nobles-to-be refuse to follow Archduke Monrog's order. There are shouts heard here and there. The law! We ask for the law! The academy officers and teachers of the college urge them to fall in line and resume the parade, but tension is rising. The crowd slowly grows enraged and unruly. An Imperial Guard cavalry regiment emerges from the palace. They start slowly advancing on the crowd, hands on their swords, pushing people out of the square. The commoners are now running left and right. You too have to move away. This quickly quells the commotion in the square, and the cavalry withdraws. Emperor Uthor II appears on the balcony again. Archduke Monrog stands by his side. The square falls silent at the sight of the sovereign. My subjects, I can see how overjoyed you are for Prince Gerion, but your show of reverence and gratitude was clear enough. Now obey my will. Continue the parade and sing the praises of the Tempest dynasty that has given you so much. The square obediently lines up in columns once again. The bout of defiance is in the past now, and they resume the festive parade through the city streets. Glory to Emperor Uther, glory to Prince Gerion. Oh dear. Ooh. Bit of a power decrease there. Letters from home. There are days when you receive letters from home. Father's writing is very reserved. He mostly discusses events and work in Magra and writes very little about the family. Have we seen this before? No, I think this is a second letter. Makes me proud that I have managed to teach Stephen how to handle our affairs at home. Your older brother behaves impeccably at the society balls and receptions that we host. He has already made several crucial acquaintances. But Gloria has a different opinion of Stephen. She thinks your older brother is taking more and more after grandfather. Stephen is a lot like grandfather. It's in his manners, his posture, his voice. He even dresses just like him. He used to be aloof around me and we barely talked in the past, but now he always blames me and tears me apart. I can't take it anymore. He walks all over me all the time and treats me like a housemaid. Mother writes to you. From her letters you learn that Nathan just barely managed to graduate from school. It makes me sad to admit that Nathan has none of the talents that you do. The other day he told me he won't even try to study in the capital. He says he won't be able to pass the exams. I find solace only in the nights Nathan and I spend together reading the scriptures and our walks to the church by the silver tree. He accompanies me every time. Your sister and younger brother write about Mother too, and they say the same thing about her health. She now spends more time locked away in her chambers to brood. Gloria does her best to accompany Mother when she leaves home, and Nathan's letters mention her steps echoing in the halls in the middle of the night. There is one more thing Nathan mentions in his letters. Stephen and Gloria have been fighting very often these days. Stephen always tries to get under Gloria's skin, and she answers him in kind. Then Stephen calls her a lowly commoner to make her shut up. You always tremble in excitement each time you see a new letter with the seal of your home province. Your fate is still bound tightly to your families, no matter the distance between you. Ooh. Decrease in relations with good old Stephen, and with Gloria, and with Nathan, probably because of the distance between us at the moment. Okay, matters of faith. The months fly by now. Every day at the seminary is filled with study and work. You are being trained to live by your new lot. There can be no rest from service to the twins. You are well acquainted with your instructors now, and with each passing day you come closer to being their equal. Every month you and your class learn more about the sacred scriptures and the life and routine of the church, and how to guide others to live by their lots. You learn about the founding of the church and the 3 councils at which the twins' first disciples first established the dogmas of the faith. When the first council met, they pronounced that the twins' faith would be the only faith throughout the empire for all eternity, and that the Tempest dynasty would rule the land by their will, for they were chosen by the gods. The first council also condemned all magic within the empire other than the wonders sent down by the twins themselves. The Inquisition was created to enforce the order established by the twins and cleanse all heresy and sorcery from hearts, minds, and bodies. Mages and witches were offered 2 choices. They could either accept the collar and reject their powers, or perish in the ritual of purifying flame. When the second council met, the Holy Order was founded. It became the mighty sword wielded by the church against its enemies. Nobles who sought to serve the twins with their arms formed the ranks of this order. When the third council met, the 2 books of Prophet Isatius and the accounts of the twins' own lives were deemed the sacred scriptures of the faith. It was then pronounced that no more councils would ever be convened, so that the foundations of the faith could never be warped. The main dogmas of the faith are the same for everyone. However, the seminary students prepare for the lot that lies ahead in different ways. Some of them study the scriptures, spending hours at the temple every day, attending every sermon, and mastering the art of preaching. Jean often appears among their ranks. These preachers ardently follow the age-old traditions and dogmas, doing everything just as it was done hundreds of years ago. Others, you call them supplicants, rarely attend sermons, but spend plenty of time in prayer rooms and temples and by the altars. You know these supplicants are seeking the twins within themselves and looking for them in the signs and revelations they experience. There are still others who are never seen during sermons or in prayer rooms. You only see them during lessons, and when the lesson is over they cross the gate of seminary and disappear into the city, often waking you up when they return in the small hours of the night. The secret society, you call these students, who are clearly united by a shared mystery. There are only a handful of them. When they meet, they sit at the same table and speak in hushed whispers, falling silent if anyone tries to approach them. You have not joined any of these groups yourself. For now, you spend your days and nights in study. Today is yet another ordinary day at the seminary. You sit in the common room reading a book when Jean approaches. Why are you always alone with your books? You should learn from your elders and attend sermons if you hope to walk the path of the priest. We can go to the next sermon together if you wish. You promise to consider her offer. As priest, you will be bound by the lot to the will of the twins, not the will of your instructors. Still, the will of the twins is a mystery, and their revelations are ever involute. Come to think of it, learning from senior priests and studying their habits might be the best way to understand your lot. Lost in thought, you look at the enigmatic handful of students sitting in the faraway corner of the hall. What mystery are they hiding? What path have they chosen to walk? You need to decide what to do next. One way or another, Jean is right. Your books will never do your preaching for you. So we can join the preachers, search for the divine will within yourself, or, of course, we could infiltrate the secret society. Well, naturally, we're going to infiltrate the secret society, clearly. So if we joined the preachers, we would have got some theology and an increased relation with Jean. If we would have increased some willpower, if we'd have searched for the divine within ourselves. But instead, we are going to infiltrate the secret society, which will give us extra diplomacy, scheming, decrease our willpower by 5, but clearly is exactly what we need to be doing. Secrets? We need to understand what these secrets are. We need to learn these secrets. They could be useful to us. Sermons and prayers are something you already know. We're bored of prayers and sermons, I'm sick of them. Right now, you would rather learn something else, something new. For several days in a row, you attempt to take a seat near the enigmatic seminary students. They eye you with suspicion and avoid you every time. When you realise that this approach is not working, you try to ingratiate yourself with a member who seems most eager to talk. You inquire about their secret meetings and promise to keep what he tells you a secret. He tells you nothing, but he does say that he will consult with the other members of the society. Several days later, one of the enigmatic students nonchalantly invites you to take a walk with him and the others. You nod. You are strongly warned that everything that happens must remain a secret. You swear not to tell a soul. You are going to a sermon. One of the students whispers in your ear as you walk the streets of Eterna. But he adds with a crafty smile, you have never heard a sermon like this before. It will turn vision of the twins upside down. In the end, curiosity gets the better of your doubts. 1 second. The students lead you to a basement of a lavishly decorated house. There are at least 50 more people in the basement hall, many of them dressed in the latest fashion. You can even see college students among the crowd. They are all waiting for someone. Finally, a stout man with a bald spot walks up to the pulpit. He is wearing a cassock, but you notice that he is not wearing the twins' cross. He seems good-natured enough. His plain face is lit up by a serene smile. Greetings, brethren. It warms my heart to see new faces here. My name is Father Mark, and I say to you, reject the twins. Cast them aside. For a moment, there is silence. You look at Brother Mark in terror. Then at the seminary students who brought you here, then back at him again. The other students are staring at the false priest with what can only be described as adoration. The truth is that there is no difference between eternal bliss and eternal suffering. We will be deprived of our will in the hereafter, deprived of our very selves, immersed within the will of the twins. There will be no we in the hereafter, Our existence and our freedom exist only in the here and now. We exist only so long as we live in this world. If we resign ourselves to our lots, if we resign our lives to the will of the twins, we're willing to deprive ourselves of our one chance to live, even in the short time we are allotted. We can only be our true selves and live our lives to the fullest if we reject the gods and cast away the burden of the lots. Life is short, and so we must strive to do everything before it ends. There will be no desires after the gods judge us, nor will there be any way to fulfill them in the hereafter, for we will have no will of our own. Our will exists only now, so focus on worldly life, my brethren. Reject the divine law and write your own law here in this world. Father Mark's speech is long, very, very long, and his mellow expression never changes. The man is a heretic, yet everybody admires him so much. After some time you start thinking there might be a kernel of truth in what he is saying. Every person lives their life bound by their lot, by tradition, by duty, by honour. Your entire life is predetermined whether you like it or not, and an opportunity to cast off this burden and seek a different way feels fascinating, even thrilling. Father Mark is a splendid orator. His words are simple and powerful, and none of them ever fall on deaf ears. You cannot help but feel respect for this man, even if you cannot accept what he is saying. You keep thinking about his outlandish sermon after you return to the seminary. The sermon was like a breath of fresh air. It gives you a glimpse of the very freedom Father Mark was talking about. You broke the rules. You strayed from the choices they wanted you to make. You sought other answers, sought something unlike the common knowledge truths, and you liked it. Tonight you felt alive. You felt emotion. You were outraged. You were enchanted. You were a part of this world, and the world gave you the strength to keep on living. Oh, ho, 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 bit of heresy there. Ooh, and apparently we liked it. The Overseer of Magra. Two major events take place while you are busy living your life. Firstly, Cornelius Tempest is no longer the great Chancellor of the Empire. He has been ousted and sent back to his province. His replacement is the Archduke of Monia, Egerius Monrog. Oh, happy days. The same Monrog who sought to shut down the college. The most powerful lord in the realm finally convinced the Emperor that his brother Cornelius was giving too much freedom to the lowborn. Now the policies of the Empire will be reversed. Many fear that the new Great Chancellor will destroy the Imperial Code of Laws and other achievements of Cornelius. There are cautious rumours among the people. They say the new Great Chancellor is going to revoke the right of the common lot to be ennobled by the mantle. Secondly, Magra, your homeland, now has a new overseer, Gaius Tempest, the other brother of Emperor Uthor II. Usually the overseer of a province is an archduke. After all, it makes sense for the province's most powerful noble to impart the emperor's will to the locals. Yet now this age-old tradition has been broken, and, to no one's surprise, Archduke Tarquinius Milanidas is absolutely furious. Gaius Tempest used to be the main supporter of his brother, former Great Chancellor Cornelius Tempest. The nobles at the Emperor's court say this is a stratagem by the Artnian gentry who want Gaius removed from court affairs along with Cornelius. Either way, Gaius Tempest and Tarquinius Milanidas will be at each other's throats over the province. This does not bode well for their future. Only one thing is clear. Magra, your home province, is about to face great changes. Oh. Get a little bit of order, but struggle for power switches back into the upper level. And away from the older nobility there. Hello, Hauler. Good evening. Okay. A criminal relationship. Spring is in full bloom. The city of Eterna is a sea of flowering trees. The apple trees are particularly prevalent. You see them growing everywhere in the seminary yard alone. How nice it would be to sit here with a good book, enjoying the apple blossoms and getting lost in important thoughts. But there is no time for that. A recent incident has the entire seminary on edge. One of the senior seminary students has been accused of having a relationship with a witch. The Inquisition had been watching the girl for a long time. When the lovers met and the girl put a floral wreath on the student's head, the Inquisition spies saw it all. The lovers were immediately arrested. You hear about it from Jean. She looks very anxious when she comes to you to discuss the news. Are you going to watch the trial? They're only allowing priests and seminary students to attend it. We have to be there. It's an important case. We could learn so much from seeing the Holy Tribunal in action. You agree to go with her. After all, the case is highly unusual indeed. Junius Diamant, one of the leaders of the new faith, has stepped forth to defend the student and the girl. You have already met the other leader of the new faith, Luke Patriarch of Archnia, but Patriarch Junius holds much more authority. The seminary students speak of him in hushed voices and only when the instructors are not around. Junius Diamant is more than a patriarch of one of the provinces. He is an Archnian hailing from one of the great dynasties and the leader of the Holy Order, the Empire's finest knights in service to the Twins' Church. The prosecution will be represented by Father Ulrich. He is a powerful inquisitor and the head warden at the House of Humility, the fortress that collars all mages and subdues their will to the service of the Inquisition. You have heard of him. He is a fierce man who is ardent and merciless in service to the twins. The day comes. The spacious courtroom is filled with people. All the seats are taken. The judges sit at a long table upon a platform. There are 10 of them, all high-ranking members of the church. To the right of them is a man in a black cassock. His head is shaved and his back is perfectly straight. This man, Father Ulrich, a true and lawful inquisitor, will represent the prosecution. To the left of the judge's table stands an Archnian. He is wearing a white cassock with a cape of white and gold on his shoulders. The Archnian's blue hands rest on the edge of the table and his expression is that of perfect calm. This man, Patriarch Junius Diamant, will represent the defence. To the left of him sit the accused, a young man in a seminary uniform and a young girl who looks like she's just come back from the foot of the pillar. They are both bound in chains. Even from your distant seat, you can see that the inquisitors have shown her no mercy. The girl's face and neck are covered in bruises. There are bloody wounds on her left hand where her fingernail should be, and her right hand bears a horrible black burn. Loud voices emanate from the stalls even before the trial begins. Some chide Patriarch Junius while others call out Father Ulrich. There are more and more of these shouts with every passing minute, and as soon as the judge's gavel can do very little to rein them in, the trial begins. Father Ulrich is the first to speak. Judges of the Holy Tribunal, and you, my brethren, this is an act of sacrilege beyond compare, committed within the walls of our own seminary. This man is a venomous viper, nurtured in the church's bosom. He defied all that is forbidden and engaged in an act of hideous lechery. Already a malefaction. But worse yet, the object of his lust is an abhorrent, sinful witch. The young woman in question looks up. You see the colour of her eyes, vibrant, radiant emerald, green, like the tender grass of spring. You recall a cautionary tale. Such eyes are the mark of a mage who holds sway over wildlife and nature. This blasphemer deserves nothing less than true death for what he had done. The walls of the church are no place for traitors and licentious filth. We who bring the will of the twins to the world may afford no weakness. As for the witch, put her in a collar and cut off her nose, so that her comely appearance may never again lead a righteous man astray. Good grief. With that, Father Ulrich takes his seat. The man who rises next is Patriarch Junius. He is as tall as a pillar, and you feel an inexplicable power emanating from him. He takes his stand before the judges. Even before he speaks, Jean winces in disgust. To her, an ally of the new faith deserves neither tolerance nor sympathy. He's already drenched in sin, and yet he thinks he can talk justice? Junius Diamant begins to speak. May it please the tribunal, the accusation is indeed true. The young man before us is at fault. It was his duty to convince the lady he had befriended to renounce all magic, and yet he encouraged her profane practices. But Father Ulrich's proposal is far too severe. I seek no lesser punishment for the witch. This is a matter for the Inquisition. But the young man need not be executed. His life is the subject of my debate. Oh dear. Game over for the witch then. She's got to have her nose chopped off. It was not by force that the young man now stands before us. He sought the twins entirely of his own volition. And so I plead with the Holy Tribunal to spare his life. May he instead take the vows and habit of a monk and a vow of silence, and be subject to corporal punishment, for the ways of the Church are stern but fair. This young man need not lose his life in order to redeem himself. An accusation flies from the crowd. So Junius favours mages and takes them under his wing in his province? Look at the man who dares doubt our lots and reject the orthodox faith. We won't let your kind gain ground in Eterna. This in turn sparks a different cry. Another voice accuses Ulrich of being drunk with the power he has acquired by enslaving those who wield magic. Patriarch Junius attempts to pacify his followers as accusations from the Inquisitor's side keep coming. Father Ulrich marks each condemnation of Junius and the new faith with an agreeable nod, his mouth a crooked smile. The crowd begins to move. Those who side with the Inquisition start pushing against the guards to exact their own brand of justice. Junius's followers do not stand still either. They rise and form a circle around the Patriarch as well as the man and woman on the trial. Accusations fly, and the air above the crowd grows hot with boiling rage. People are pushing and shoving. You hear screams of panic among the cries of outrage. You and Jean find a temporary refuge on a podium rising above the human sea. The courtroom is becoming dangerous. You must attempt to escape now or risk being trampled. There is still time. Time for either Patriarch Junius or Father Ulrich to say something, to calm the crowd, remind them why they are here, but they both froze in confusion, unable to rein in the coalescing madness. Perhaps you could make your voice heard from atop the crowd, or would it be more sensible to escape the chaos of the courtroom? So we're lacking theology for that one, and eloquence for that one. It's a shame. Which means we've got no choice but to flee the courtroom. Which gains us some willpower, which is nice. So we take Jean by the hand and start pushing and shoving through the crowd to escape the courtroom. Okay. You push and shove through screaming inquisitors, frenzied seminary students, and red-faced followers of the new faith. As you leave the hall behind you erupts into screams of rage and pain and fighting. You ask Jean if she wants to stay here and see the end of the trial. No. Clearly not. No, I've seen enough. This is too much like what happened to Alice. I don't want to see what happens next. Let's get out of here at once! You make your way back to the seminary courtyard where the apple trees are in bloom. There are so many white flowers you can barely see the leaves behind them. After the din of the courtroom, the quiet here is deafening. So quiet you can almost hear your own heartbeat. Jean looks up with a quiet sigh and touches the white petals. It feels so strange. It's like we're back in Anisot beneath the branches of the silver tree. I wish I could feel that calm again. Don't you agree? Carefully, Jean's hand touches yours and squeezes your fingers gingerly. Then suddenly, she embraces you. You gasp with surprise and place your hand on her waist. Is this a chaste hug, or perhaps her breath feels hot on your neck? Her eyelashes flutter against your skin as her arms glide up and down your back. You are not yet priests. You are not yet one with the clergy. You are not yet bound by the new lot, and for now, anything is possible. She smells so good. A lock of hair tumbles out from under her headcloth. You gently touch this lock with your lips. Hours, minutes, maybe seconds pass like this, and suddenly G moves away and looks at you defiantly, biting her lower lip. You smile in return. She will embrace you once more, will she not? She steps back. You part ways. Jean heads for the prayer room. You walk back to your monastic cell. Still, you look back once more before you leave. Jean is there, watching you go. When she catches your eye, she looks away and leaves. Ooh. Oh dear. This is going to end poorly if we don't focus on theology. Theology. We are focusing on theology. Kind of. In our own way. Where's our stats? Theology's 10. It's not that bad. Could be, obviously, it could be better. The second sacrament. Don't worry, we didn't go in. We didn't do it. We didn't commit a sin. We didn't commit a sin. It's okay. What we were, it's funny at the start of the session we were just talking about relationships, were we not? You wanted to speak to Jean again, but she disappeared the next day. Some say she was sent somewhere else to study. Strange. Why did she tell you nothing? Why did she not say goodbye? You keep waiting for news from her at first, but as the days go by, your thoughts turn to the upcoming exams and the second sacrament. All the sacred scriptures, holy procedures, and sacred hymns have been memorized long ago. You know the names of every disciple of the elder and the younger, all the patriarchs of the provinces, from the very first to the present day. And most importantly, your faith is strong, and your confidence is unshakable. The exams are behind you now. On the day of your second sacrament, you come to the great temple of the twins, already dressed in a priest's cassock. Father Jeremiah holds your belt in one hand. He will conduct your sacrament. His other hand holds the sacred book. You are to kiss it to show your complete submission to the will of the twins. You approach the altar on the commoner's side. The jagged floor hurts as it bites into your bare feet, but there is a hint of pleasure in that pain. You kneel before Father Jeremiah on the lowest of the steps leading to the altar. He speaks the words of your new lot above you. Thou shalt now carry the will of the twins to the world. Whosoever cometh to thee, thou shalt give him guidance. The twins are love and will and law. Thou shalt bring it to the world. Thy new lot is to interpret the lots and give counsel in faith. Arise, priest. You kiss the book and stand up, confidence blooming within you. You now know the answers to all questions. You are now a messenger of the true word, the one who carries true understanding. You have the power to guide people toward a righteous path, to help them see the truth, to help them find answers. For the twins will it so. New strength fills you. By the grace of the elder, you may pray to him to heal and cure those who suffer. By the law of the younger, you may pray to him to bind your foes with his wondrous power. When no one is looking, you reach for your back. The mark of the lash is gone. You feel as though you can breathe more easily now. On the morning after, you are to conduct a sacrament for the first time. Ooh. You walk into a small temple on the outskirts of Eterna. Acolytes are running to and fro preparing for the ritual while you repeat the words of the lots that you must tell the children. Slowly, the temple fills with people. You stand at the altar now, the sword in one hand and the lash in the other. 3 boys are to receive their sacrament today. A little nobleman and 2 low-born boys of the same age. The noble's boy's parents are nervous and ask you to hurry with the sacrament. And so you begin. With confidence and proper pace you recite the words of a noble's lot to the little boy kneeling before you. Then you carefully bring the flat of the sword to his lips. The boy kisses it, and you thank the twins under your breath. Now it is time for the common children to receive their sacrament. You notice movement in the temple out of the corner of your eye. Someone is standing in the doorway. It's the silhouette of a woman. You recognize her. She looks sterner now, harsher, but the most striking feature about her now is her eyes. They are cold, yet curious. Something glints on Jean's belt now. It is the silver seal of the Inquisition. Oh, she's gone a bit extreme, hasn't she? Do continue, priest. The boys stand before you, just like you and Nathan when you were boys. You were just like them at your first sacrament. The elder of the 2 kneels on the jagged floor. He winces slightly but holds back the tears. You recite his new lot for him and strike him twice with the lash. He shudders, yet humbly accepts the first suffering of his life. They bring the other boy to you next. He is kicking and squirming and his face is red with tears. They force him to kneel and he falls on all fours. The floor draws blood from his hands. Adult hands hold him still. Adult voices chide him angrily. You say the words of his new lot and strike him once with the lash. The lash cuts right through the boy's shirt and soaks it with blood. The boy's cries turn to screams. You raise your head slightly and notice Jean's watchful eye. She is there waiting. You look back down at the boy. He looks so much like Nathan, just as frightened, just as distraught, just as defenseless. You hesitate, unsure of what to do. The ritual must be finished. By your lot, you must bring forth the will of the twins and perform the sacrament of suffering. But this little boy huddling at your feet is so young. He will no doubt see so much suffering in his life. Perhaps you should show him that the world can be merciful too. We have to whip him. We can't afford to take a misstep here. In all of the public view, conducting our very first sacrament, and now with the bloody Jean the Inquisitor looking at us, we can't be so blasé and overt with our actions, so we shall whip him again. With all our might, no less, Jesus. Okay, so if we'd have had mercy on the child, we'd have gained willpower, Jean's relation would have gone down. We are striking him with our might, so Jean's goes up and we lose willpower. You cast away all doubt. You muster all your will, and the lash cuts through the air as it strikes the boy's back again. His skin parts, his blood drips onto the floor. The boy gasps for air, doubled over in pain, then sags in the acolyte's arm. With a stern voice you tell him to rise and live by the lot he has been given. The boy barely gets back to his feet, then walks back to his mother panting. You hand the sword and lash to an acolyte and turn to face the altar and say a quick prayer to the twins for this day. You hear quiet footsteps behind you. I'm glad to see you didn't hesitate. You must never show mercy if you are to carry out the will of the twins. You help that boy understand the full burden of his lot. That is a blessing that will guide him towards the peak of the pillar. Jean puts her hand on your shoulder, yet hastily removes it as both of you hear a powerful voice that will make anyone shudder. You sure have a steady hand, Brother Benedict. It's Father Ulrich. You hastily turn around and see Inquisitor Ulrich appear from the shadows. Has he been watching you perform the sacrament this whole time? Father Ulrich, you were correct after all. Brother Benedict is ready to become one of us. What an Inquisitor! Oh my God! That is for me to decide. Jean frowns but falls silent, pursing her lips. Ulrich turns his heavy gaze to you. For 2 years I have been watching you, Benedict. Now the time has come for you to join our ranks. Ulrich hands you a scroll marked with the silver seal of the Inquisition. Brother Benedict, the Church is appointing you an Inquisitor. You are to return to your native land and protect our true faith against heresy. Jean pierces you with an intense stare. You bow your head and accept the scroll from Ulrich's hands. Then you solemnly fasten the Inquisitor's insignia to your belt. By the will of the Church and the gods themselves, you are now a servant to the Holy Order of the Inquisition. Joke's on you, Ulrich. Let's hope so. Henceforth your life belongs to the Order. You shall fight against any apostasy that threatens the Church and her flock. Cast aside your doubts, Inquisitor Bronte, and be ready to fulfill your new righteous duty. Prepare yourself to set out for Anisot. A special assignment awaits you there. Sister Jean will accompany you as a fellow Inquisitor. She will tell you everything else you need to know. With that, Ulrich abruptly turns away and leaves the temple. Your answer is not required. The will of the Church is the law, and you must abide by it. You are left alone with Jean. Your sister in faith betrays no emotions. Her words sound sharp and dry. I was just going to say that, Hurt Cupboard. I've got a sneaking suspicion we're going to have to make a decision about somebody in our family. With her old beady eyes watching on. The time has come to bid the capital farewell, Brother Benedict. We are leaving for Anisot tomorrow. With that, Jean leaves you alone in the temple. You turn back to the altar and finish your prayer. Oh boy. Sacrament of the priest. We have received our second sacrament. We have been ordained as a priest. We are now an Inquisitor, and we have carried out our first sacrament as the man on the other side. Diamant stands trial. Uh-oh. Just before you leave the capital, you overhear something unusual on the street. Junius Diamant, Patriarch of Astynia and one of the leaders of the new faith, will stand trial before a church tribunal. The Order of the Inquisition has accused him of patronizing blasphemous witches and disseminating heresy. The Holy Tribunal claims that Junius Diamant was scheming to free all witches and sorcerers from the collars that fetter their accursed powers. And what's worse, the Patriarch was also accused of forming the Lotless, a dangerous secret society based in the imperial capital. Members of this society have been assaulting inquisitors and priests of the church, as well as freeing witches from the cleansing fire and helping them escape holy law. Now the Patriarch must face the Holy Tribunal of the Inquisition in Eterna. By all accounts, this is a devastating blow to the new faith, and the end of the days for Junius himself. The Inquisition will make the most of this opportunity to rid the land of this unwelcome patriarch who dared to shake the foundation of the old faith. But then comes the sudden news of Patriarch Junius's reply to the Holy Tribunal. It is no less stunning than the accusation. These words are nothing but lies. I will say this to anyone who dares to bring this accusation against me in person, but I want those hypocrites to bear the full weight of their responsibility for this slander against me, my flock, the Diamant dynasty, and the Holy Order. I agree to stand trial before the Holy Tribunal, but I will face them on my own land and on my own terms. Patriarch Junius has already received strong support from Patriarch Luke and many priests across Armenia. Parishes of the new faith throughout the empire are now speaking out in support of Junius Diamant. The Church of the Twin Gods is about to be rent in twain. The Inquisition has no choice but to revoke the trial in order to avert the coming schism. Their new official stance is that Patriarch Junius has been wrongfully accused, and the Holy Tribunal will now apply more cautious judgment during any further trials against the followers of the new faith. Following the teachings of Patriarch Fotis is no longer seen as heresy by the Inquisition. Ooh. The trial of Junius Diamant has been averted, but the divide within the church is only deepening. The new faith has directly challenged the old. The result is uncertain, depending on who you ask. Some say Junius Diamant all but pled guilty. Others believe the Patriarch and the alleged rebellion against the church as well as the Inquisition is nothing but a ruse. There are also people who think the entire situation sounds like one of the secret chancellery's dirty deeds. One way or another, the Patriarch of Astynia and co-leader of the new faith remains at his post. But for how long? And how will the old faith and the new faith clash next? Schism. Schism has decreased. Going into the favour of the old faith there slightly. For now. Church of England versus Catholicism. See you later, Ollie. We'll be finishing to the stream today at 10. I know we started at 7:30, but I have to clearly go and get a cup of tea and a bit of supper, so I can't finish too late. The Reglata and Taurina rivers meet outside the city walls. You have barely left the capital since you came here all those years ago. A breeze is blowing in your face, and the bright noon sun hangs above the shining pillar. Your stay in Eterna has come to an end. You arrived here a boy, full of hopes and aspirations, driven by your family's expectations and a desire to live your life as you saw fit. And now you have to leave, and this thought fills you with gentle sadness. Eterna did not become your home, and yet here you realize that you can be a messenger between the will of the twins and the people. You are the hand that shows the way, and the interpreter of the gods, the man who guides others to the peak when they depart for the hereafter. You have never felt so close to the twins, but now you carry within you the love and wisdom of the elder, and the law and power of the younger. After your second sacrament, you started seeing the twins' presence in this world everywhere. What will you see back in your hometown, or by the silver tree? You have been chosen to serve the Inquisition. Now you are more than a mere priest. You are a shield of the church that wards away its enemies and false doctrines. A pain in your chest right under the twins' cross echoes this thought. The schism between the church and the new faith began in Anisot, but the city is still your home. Changes are coming, and as an inquisitor, you will have to face them. You think of Sister Jean often. She was your only companion during the years of study at the seminary, and now she will teach and assist you in your service to the Inquisition. What is the connection between you? Who will you become for one another? You exhale and close your eyes, feeling the riverside wind blowing into your face. Many things must have changed back home by now. Does Mother still pray to the twins 3 times a day? What about the others? They used to repeat the sacred words after her back then, but what about now? Nathan probably follows Mother's example. Every letter he has sent you has been filled with elation over your choice of the priest's lot. Nathan failed to enter the seminary of Anisot. He said he got too nervous, and he wrote that he was ashamed of not being able to follow in your footsteps. But being ashamed of failure is against the commoner's lot, he wrote back. A commoner must humbly accept failure, just as he would accept any other kind of suffering. You should cheer Nathan up by bringing him a souvenir from the capital that will remind him of you, a token of love that says you believe in him. After giving it some thought, you head to the temple for a prayer book. Hey, we're doing very well pretending to be a priest, aren't we? You find the great temple of the twins surrounded by the usual calm and quiet. There are no loud voices coming from the people, no loud cries from the merchants. You approach a small bookstore by the temple grounds and examine the prayer books one by one. You search for one with the proper prayers for everything Nathan needs, for the good of the family, for humility, for meekness, and for following one's lot. A small book finds its way to you. The sturdy leather cover feels good in the palm of your hand. You thumb through the prayer book and nod. Everything you are looking for is here. You leave the capital the morning after in a carriage hired by the Inquisition. Eterna, the city where you spent 4 years, slowly disappears on the horizon. Will you ever see the capital again? You do not know. The prayer book is in your hands. Coming of age. The end of youth. The years of your youth have come to an end. The time has come to leave the capital behind and return to your family and new business in your hometown of Anisot. The years away from home were full of tumult and hardship. Your adult shoulders now bear the burden of your first life-changing decisions. Did you have the freedom to choose this lot for yourself, or was it your destiny all along, ever since your childhood years? All you can do now is follow the path that lies before you. Okay, look at that. Alright, would you ever do a second playthrough? No, I wouldn't play a second playthrough because I don't tend to play second playthroughs of much when it comes to computer games, but I will certainly watch a playthrough to see somebody playing and seeing what alternative options they picked and what path they took. I just have to find one because I haven't found one yet. So we got through quite a lot here. So currently we have Diplomacy 11, promising. Theology 10, follower. Manipulation 11, so kind of fair to middling there. Valor, clearly not our strong suit. Eloquence, most important to the Inquisitor. Oh dear. The one stat important for our job, not very good at it. Something else will, yeah, at least theology's not bad. So if we're looking at theology as being important to an Inquisitor, we're kind of 10. If we're looking at eloquence, struggling big time. Oh dear. I think we're probably not in a good job for our stats at the moment. Oh dear. Oh well. Well, this looks like peacetime. So this 20. So we're age 20 now. So this looks like a very long chapter, unless it's split into more than one. But we are now an adult.
A full adult now, I returned from the capital a changed man. Yet, my hometown was not the same as I had left it. Fate had difficult times in store for all of us.
Oh dear. Peacetime, chapter 4. Okay, homecoming. So we are returning with Jean to Anisot as 2 Inquisitors. looking out and seeing the land of Magra with its scorched earth. And we are no longer a boy. We are coming back a priest. And we shall begin our service in our home province, of all places. And we shall be soon reunited with our family. Okay, peace time. So we've got a whole host of stuff that will happen. And one of those is true death, which looks fantastic. And we've got some potential outcomes for the Brante family, which could include the family falling apart. Happy days. More things that could happen to the family. I don't want to really read those because it could give us some spoilers, I suppose. Occupation. What's that? I don't know. Some trials. The occupation screen is now available. What does that mean? Occupation. The state of affairs at your workplace. How close are you to the goals you are pursuing? Inquisition power. The order is strengthening. So what does that mean? The influence of the Inquisition in the province of Magra determines your authority as an inquisitor. So if we are... so basically the strength of the Inquisition in Magra. Right. Tolerance of faiths. Represents how many people in the province accept the new teachings about the twin gods. The higher this tolerance is, the harder it is for the Inquisition to suppress these teachings. So this is religious rights, power of new faith, persecution of dissent, reprisal against a new faith. So we can't... I mean, obviously we're an inquisitor, but in the ideal situation, from within, we want the Inquisition power to decrease and the tolerance to increase. Yeah? That's what we're hoping for, right? Because we're hoping to do a bad job here on purpose without getting ourselves killed. Balance is key. Time for us to work our magic, indeed it is. Let's just have a look at these stats before we move on. So this is the destiny. So this is our personality again. Again, sucking in all things Inquisition, which is fine, because we don't want to be a good one anyway, really. But we could do with being able to unlock the options that we want. The House of Bronte is tarnished, moderate wealth, and is currently quite peaceful. We've got relations with the various other people here. So Father Ulrich, indifferent. Gaius Tempest, indifferent. Aelis, indifferent. Dorius, -1. A daring duelist. Jean is currently sympathy. Octavia, we've just still got her hanky. Uncle Augustin. Sophia. And Thomas. So we've still got some friends. We've come back to Anisot. Overseer is Gaius Tempest now. You remember there's a change here. So this is now Gaius Tempest, the Overseer. The Patriarch is still Cassius, because Fotis died. So here we have a -2 power balance here. There's a struggle for power. There's a schism forming. So again, that's kind of both of these teetering on the edge. Still quite an affluent area, and currently relatively peaceful. But there's definitely potential for things to turn south. Okay, let's go. Let's see how this pans out. Could this be the competent character? Yeah, competence through incompetence, right? We are purposely being incompetent to achieve what we want. So that means if we achieve what we want through our incompetence, then we have achieved competence. Is that not how it works? It's my thinking anyway. Right. Let's see what our first task as Inquisitor is then, shall we? Spiritual guidance, you say? The air in the carriage is stuffy, despite the blinds that shut out the sun. It will take time to get used to the heat again. The scorching days are followed by freezing nights, such as the desert in wintertime. Jean has changed drastically during her months away. You struggle to begin a conversation with her. In the end, she is first to speak. It's time I told you of our mission in Anisot, Brother Benedict. Uh-oh. And why has the Inquisition decided to assign it to 2 recent seminary graduates? The Inquisition considers me sufficiently prepared for this mission, and I vouched for you. The mission that awaits us will take a long time to complete. I need somebody reliable by my side. Magra has grown restless of late. The teachings of Fotis have taken root here. The local priests reject their duty. They tell their congregations to seek their lots within themselves. They claim the teachings of Saint Aesitius are lies. Don't they see they're marching straight to the foot of the pillar and dragging their flock along with them? But that's not all. The church received an anonymous letter denouncing Cassius, the Patriarch of Magra, for enabling all manner of sects and heresies in the province and blaspheming against the gods. This report must be investigated, and should we find proof of his guilt, we are to remove Cassius from his post and defrock him. Needless to say, this will not be easy. Right now, the Magran Inquisition is weak, respected neither by the nobles nor the clergy. Until they recognize our authority, they will be unlikely to obey us. Cassius has been Patriarch since Fotis' demise 5 years ago. He was elected unanimously at the sacred conclave of Magra. He is beloved by his flock and respected by the clergy. We have therefore been strongly advised to investigate this matter in secret. We must restore the authority of the Inquisition. Then, if Cassius is indeed guilty, we must find proof. Then, and only then, may we accuse him openly. The tribunal hearing against Patriarch Junius Diamant was a disgrace. What happened there must not be repeated in Magra. The Church has entrusted Inquisitor Ulrich with this case. We are expected to assist in his investigation however we can and help protect Anisot against heresy. But I think we should be wary of him. Father Ulrich is a ruthless man and a zealous inquisitor, overzealous at times. They say he has burned entire villages to the ground for the sake of the true faith. We will do our utmost to restore the authority of the Inquisition, but I fear Father Ulrich may be inclined to abuse this authority. Please, for our sake, be discreet around him. Either way, our mission will not be simple, but we will restore order in Magra. Let us eradicate every seed of heresy here and uproot the weeds of this new faith. The city that houses the silver tree must remain a symbol of true faith. Can I count on your support, Benedict? We can't disagree with her because we lack eloquence. But we wouldn't have done this anyway. I think we're still going to want to maintain this facade. So we can either evade the question, which means that we're not going to kind of lie about it, and just oh look a rabbit, or we could lie and support. Yes, Gene, we shall indeed do exactly as you've said. Oh yes, indeed. Fingers crossed behind back, you know. I think she's asked us an open question here, or a question. So evading the question seems a bit foolish in a one-on-one situation in a carriage. I mean, how can you evade a question when somebody's sat there looking at you and waiting for an answer? So we'll just pay lip service and support Jean for now. You assure Jean that she has your full support. You are entirely on her side. Heresy will be dealt with. The Inquisition will go strong. The truth about Patriarch Cassius will be revealed. I'm glad to hear that, Benedict. The city walls of Anizot finally appear on the horizon. Your service to the Inquisition promises to be difficult, but right now, you were going home. We have set our stall out and started our work as an Inquisitor of Magra. Oh boy. Right, first stop, home. I told you, didn't I? The carriage stops. The familiar gate. Your bedroom window. The same one you used to climb out of at night from time to time. The well-tended garden with its imported soil. Delightful greenery and Mother's beloved violet irises. The porch you used to jump off when you were little. You were home. You touch the handle of the front door and halt for a moment. It's been 4 years since you left for Eterna, but it feels like yesterday. The air inside is cool, as usual. Father cannot stand a stuffy room and insists on constantly airing out the house. Nathan's shaggy head peeks out from behind the sitting room door. Your younger brother is the first to reach you, crying out with joy. He embraces you tightly. Nathan is now as tall as you are, and his hair almost reaches his shoulders, but he still has the same lost look in his eye as when he was a boy. Yeah, it looks a bit rough, yeah. Chop your hair and get a bloody shave, mate. What are you doing? You're finally back, Benedict. Home just hasn't been the same without you. And look, you're wearing a cassock. A true priest. I'll never be one, unfortunately. I didn't get into the seminary. He stares at the ground guiltily. You show him the prayer book you bought for him by the great temple of the twins back in the capital. May the light of the faith shine in your eyes forevermore, brother. Nathan clutches at the little prayer book and nods with gratitude. Mother walks out of the sitting room. Nathan runs to her and she leans on his arm as he leads her to you. Mother's back is bent. She has grown pale and a thin web of wrinkles covers her face. She can barely stand unassisted. These are the troubling, telltale signs of the illness your brother and sister mentioned in their letters from home. Slowly, she embraces you. You press your face into her shoulder, breathing in the nearly forgotten, dearly beloved smell. Mother holds your shoulders and studies you for a long time. You've been away so long, my son. But it was all for a good reason. I'm so very proud you chose to follow the priestly lot. Never in my wildest dreams did I think my own son would bring the twins' teachings to the world and save other men's souls. To think I held you in these arms not so long ago. Mother's arms are thinner now. They feel nearly weightless. Gloria walks up to you next. She is dressed in men's clothing, including culottes, a frock coat and a necktie with a massive pin. She is almost unrecognisable in her new attire. There are dark circles under her eyes as though from lack of sleep or frequent tears. Her first words to you are dripping with sarcasm. Well, hello there, my brother the priest. Can't say I expected that. You'll be one watching over our souls now, I suppose? You offer a composed response. You will always be ready to help Gloria if she finds herself in need of spiritual guidance. But you are not just a priest, you are also her brother. Gloria breaks into an involuntary smile. She finally lets her feelings show and embraces you. Loud footsteps echo down the stairs. Stephen appears. Your elder brother has grown taller and more broad-shouldered. You notice how harsh his features have become. He looks even more like grandfather now. Stephen greets you politely with a solemn nod. Greetings, brother. It's a shame you returned with a cassock rather than a sword, but at least you weren't left a commoner like our youngest brother. You may not have earned a noble lot, but your cause is important to the Empire. The Bronte family welcomes you. As he says these words, you hear the door to Father's office open. Father looks older. His back is hunched, and he squints. There are deep lines around his mouth and silver threads in his dark hair and moustache. He stops a few steps away and examines you from head to toe. You meet his gaze. When I sent you off to the capital, I didn't expect you to return like this, but you have chosen your own path. I am saddened that you won't follow in my footsteps, but such is the will of the twins. I accept your decision. With a bit of hesitation, Father comes closer and pats you on the back. Well then, time for dinner. Your mother has prepared a veritable feast for you. For the first time in years, the entire family is together. You can finally spend some time with another member of your family today. Oh, so who do we choose? Find out how Mother's doing, find out about Gloria, chat with Nathan, talk to Stephen. Well, our mother is ill. She looks ill, man. She's wasting away, fading away, heart can't even stand up. I think we need to spend some time with her, get the lowdown, what's going on. So these were just basically increase relationships with people. It's already maxed out, I suppose, but I mean, ultimately, we would wish to do this. And indeed, asking about her health. Oh, it's nothing, Benedict. I have no complaints. I've just been a little weak lately. It happens at my age. I humbly accept whatever fate the twins have chosen for me. Having said this, she stops abruptly and looks upward. Father cuts in. You know, son, you should tell us about your life in the capital. Have you made any useful acquaintances? Our family could use some good connections right now. You mentioned in one of your letters that you've seen the imperial family with your eyes. What are they like, the Tempests? You have to relate the 4 years you spent in Eterna. Only later that night, while talking to Nathan on the back porch, do you learn more about Mother's health. I'll be frank with you. Mother isn't doing so well. Gloria and I do our best not to leave her alone. You can ask her questions, but her answers often don't make sense, and she keeps falling silent in the middle of conversation like she did today. Her illness is consuming her. You know, if Mother passes, she may not be reborn. I dread to think what will become of Father then, and of Gloria. Gloria has had it hard too lately. Stephen has treated her like dirt for the last year. I think he plans to drive her out of the house so her origins won't taint the Bronte reputation anymore. Stephen only cares about one thing now, getting our family ennobled by the sword. So for him, Gloria is just an obstacle between him and his goal. You spend quite some time in silence, gazing at the radiant stripe of the shining pillar as it grows more and more luminous against the darkening sky. The Bronte family is about to face some challenging times. Oh dear. The Sacred Conclave. Spring has come. The nightly chill of the desert loses its bite. The daily heat dissipates in gentle rains. At the local Inquisition ward, you are greeted only by dust, dirt, and silence. The building is completely abandoned. It takes both of you several weeks just to make it presentable again. Father Ulrich is yet to arrive. You and Jean have kept your arrival a secret, but you cannot wait any longer. Today is the day when a sacred conclave must assemble in every province of the Empire. You will have to make your presence known to the brothers and sisters of the clergy and announce your mission to purge heresy and apostasy. During a sacred conclave, each province elects a patriarch to represent the faith for the next 8 years. In the old days, every man and woman of the flock had to attend the conclave, but that tradition is long gone. Now, only the clergy have a say. Conclave Day is a sacred day indeed. On this day, the twins themselves descend and reside within the temples of the Empire. They bear witness to the chosen patriarchs of each province, the holiest among equals, the men who will speak to the gods themselves on behalf of their flock. Cassius assumed the patriarch after the tragic death of Patriarch Fotis, and has not been presented to the twins yet. Nevertheless, there is no doubt Cassius will be elected by the clergy of Magra once again. The conclave is held at the temple by the silver tree. The last time you went there, you were just a little boy. You were struck by the tree even then, but now you gaze at it as though it were an old friend. As an inquisitor, you no longer need to touch the tree to feel the life beating within it. The square by the silver tree is rarely crowded, but today it is packed. All 3 lots are represented here in ample numbers. The nobles repose in soft chairs in the shade of the tents. The clergy file into the temple one by one. The common folk swarm the square, pushing and shoving for a better view. You hear cries of joy, a hum of approval and applause. The common people do indeed favour Cassius. You and Jean have to push through the crowd to reach the temple doors. Not even a Turner had crowds this big. I thought we'd be trampled for sure. Before entering the temple, you place your hand on the trunk of the tree. It is remarkably warm. At least one thing is still the same. There are over 100 people in the temple. All the clergy of Magra are gathered here, from the abbots of the principal Magran temples to travelling preachers. Most wear the black robes of the old faith. In the far corner of the hall, however, you see several priests of the new faith. Few in number and dressed in white, they keep to the side. You and Jean sit in the front row. The others eye you with curiosity and suspicion. You catch your names among the whispers that fill the temple. It seems your arrival was a secret to no one. There is so much fear in them, so much hatred. Do you think they're hiding something? Or has someone poisoned their minds against our order? The cheering of the crowd drowns out Jean's words. Patriarch Cassius is approaching, blessing the people around him as he crosses the square. The Patriarch enters the temple. The doors are locked behind him. The clamour grows quiet. Cassius has a pleasant look about him. A sturdy middle-aged man, he greets people with a soft, peaceful smile. Those gathered at the temple rise from the pews to greet the Patriarch. The priests in white cassocks are the last to rise. One of them, a priest of considerable age, catches your attention. You are struck by his clean-shaven face and the uncannily sharp look in his eye. The trim of his cassock is embroidered with gold, and his hands rest upon a long staff to help him stand. That is Father Leonard. He's been the abbot of this temple for over 20 years. I remember him as a wise and kindly man, but my sorrow for him knows no measure now. Fotis's teachings have clouded his mind. The Patriarch greets the audience with a dignified bow, and everyone takes their seats. Cassius slowly ascends the stairs to the altar of the twins and kneels before their images. The words of his prayer echo throughout the temple. O heavenly lords, O givers of life, the younger, defender of the world, judge and counsellor, the elder, the spirit of truth and love filling everything with his presence. We humbly abide by your law, by the 3 lots of Isatius. May the righteous achieve eternal bliss, and may the sinners suffer retribution without mercy. In your sight, I hereby relinquish my authority as Patriarch. May you allow your children to elect him who shall take my place. The air feels heavy, as though it is pressing down on you. The priest remains motionless, holding their breath. An incredible, all-consuming silence falls upon the room. In this silence you hear the faint patter of footsteps across the temple. The moment slowly passes. The illusion fades, the air becomes light again. A staff taps against the tiles. The leader of the new faith approaches Cassius. We have seen their sign. The twins are with us now. I, Father Leonard, abbot of the temple by the silver tree, declare the sacred conclave open. Father Cassius, would you please join the rest? With a smile, Cassius does so. And so the conclave of Magra must elect a patriarch to speak to the twins on behalf of our faith for the next 8 years to come. Speak the names of those who are worthy. Several dozen voices answer his call, all at once. Cassius! Cassius! Father Cassius! No other candidate is mentioned. Father Leonard rubs the bridge of his nose before he continues. So, you have spoken the name of Father Cassius. I hear none other. Then let us begin the ceremony. The acolytes give every priest 2 stones, one black and one white. An enormous bowl is brought to stand before the altar of the twins. Once the stones have filled the bowl, Father Leonard begins to count them, dividing them into 2 piles on either side of the altar for all to see. I count 1 black stone for each new believer here. Does this mean that all the others trust him without reservation? Then let the will of the sacred conclave be done beneath the watchful eye of the twins. Father Cassius shall be our patriarch. He shall be our voice before the twins and our mentor in this earthly realm. Cassius steps before the altar, the soft smile still on his face. Before the image of the twins, I accept my burden as Patriarch of Magra. May the wisdom of the younger and the power of the elder grant me strength in this service. The priests rise from the pews once again to cheer for the new Patriarch. Father Leonard raises a hand calling for silence. Brothers and sisters, this conclave is concluded, but before we exit this temple to announce the name of the new Patriarch to the people, we must first hear out the inquisitors who have come to our province. They will proclaim their mission so that each priest may relay their words to his or her parish. You and Jean take a step toward the altar, but an unexpected creaking sound startles those within the temple. The temple doors burst open. An armed squad marches into the hall, champions of faith, warriors of the Order of the Inquisition. They are led by Inquisitor Ulrich. He holds an edict sealed with 3 seals. Who dares violate the laws of the sacred conclave? The doors of this temple must remain closed until a new patriarch has been elected. The patriarch's voice booms within the temple walls as though the twins themselves share his indignation. Yet Inquisitor Ulrich only raises his eyebrows in response. But Patriarch, the conclave has concluded, has it not? I am Inquisitor Ulrich. I have been sent by the Order of the Inquisition to purge the last remnants of charm in Anidas's legacy from your province. Anyone insolent enough to stand in my way shall be branded an ally of the heretics and sentenced to true death. You exchange a quick glance with Jean. Purging the dark legacy of Char Minanidas from the province may be a trumped-up excuse, but it grants an inquisitor incredible authority. Here in Magra, it is all too easy to tie anything and anyone to the rebellious Duke. There are 2 other inquisitors present here. I want their voices to be heard, not just by the members of the conclave, but by the common people as well. The clergy of Magra often tend to ignore or utterly distort the will of the Inquisition. I am here to prevent this from happening. His words are met with indignant cries, but Father Ulrich remains still, his piercing gaze transfixing Cassius, waiting for an answer. The Patriarch is perplexed at first, but he slowly begins to regain his composure as he recognizes the support he enjoys on the part of the clergy. You have no right to bring strife to this house of the twins. Magra never required the attention of the Inquisition when I was its Patriarch, and nothing has changed. Our congregation's faith is stronger than ever. The confidence in his voice grows. The other priests support him with shouts of encouragement. Inquisitor Ulrich takes several steps toward Cassius. Those are powerful words, Patriarch. The Order of the Inquisition wants to determine whether or not they are true. If they are, we will leave Magra. Ulrich gestures for you to come closer. But I have interrupted your speech, Inquisitors. Come, make our intentions known. I am certain the people will give you their due attention now. Brother Benedict has kindly addressed those who have gathered here today from the temple steps. Oh, God. Well, accusing seems a bit strong. I think we might try to... right in front of our boss as well, you know. I don't think there's anything wrong with putting them at ease. Let's just read the options, not the bit at the side, though. You address a gathering with words of accusation. You address a gathering with words of peace and... peace and reconciliation. Let's get them on side. That's definitely a good thing, right? So if we would accuse them, we'd have gone Inquisition power up, reputation family up, gene relation up, and Father Ulrich up. Basically all good things, really, for our position. But by putting them at ease, tolerance of faith goes up, which is what we want. Reputation of family goes up. Gene's reputation goes down, and we increase with Father Leonard. Interesting. Interesting. Excellent. You stand on the steps of the temple. The crowd watches your face distraught. The clergy stares at your back, wary and alert. It is as though the entire city has gathered to hear you speak. You tell them that the Inquisition has come to Anizot on an important mission, but it is by no means a mission of punishment. You have been sent here to save souls, to protect them from the dangers of heresy and magic. All of you, yourself included, are but humble children of the twins. Those whose faith is strong have nothing to fear from you. The crowd is silent. Jean stares at you in confusion. You hear hushed whispers among the clergy behind your back. It brings me joy to hear these words, says Patriarch Cassius. To fight the scourge of magic is a worthy cause, but I doubt you will find it here in Magra. Now excuse me while I greet my flock and announce the conclusion of the conclave. You breathe a sigh of relief only when you return to the Inquisition ward. Inquisitor Ulrich is not pleased with you, and he makes no effort to hide it. I was told to act as your mentor. The first thing I will tell you is this. You must cast away all fear and indecision. They are luxuries we cannot afford. We are the servants of the twins. We are their shield, their sword of punishment. We are the ones who must be feared. Inquisitor Brante, you were supposed to show our strength, but instead you showed only weakness. You were supposed to remind the sinners of the inevitable punishment that awaits them. You were supposed to strike fear into the hearts of the apostates, to show the flock that we are here to root out all heresy and sin. But instead, you made it seem as though our mission will not affect them. You two will handle the affairs of the Order while I investigate the Patriarch's schemes. Dismissed. Hello, Ben. Well, that went well. Sympathy with Father Leonard, though. Tolerance of faith increasing, though. Reputation of the family increasing. As well as it could have, yeah. Okay. A reception at the Bronte residence. Oh. You come back home after a short stroll through the city. As soon as you set foot in the house, you are greeted by Stephen, who invites you to have a talk in Father's office. When you enter the room, Father has a heap of letters in front of him and is signing them one after another. Son, Stephen and I must discuss an important matter with you. While you were in the capital, our family formally petitioned the overseer to grant us the nobility of the sword. We have 3 generations of noble blood already. We have the right to make our nobility hereditary. Your grandfather took the first steps towards the nobility of the sword as soon as Stephen was born, and now we are on the brink of becoming the El Brantes. If Overseer Gaius Tempest and the nobles of the province deem us worthy, we will receive a hereditary title. All nobles of the Brante family will remain noble forever, as well their descendants. Father and I do our utmost to maintain the family's position, but our goal can be reached only if our reputation remains unblemished in the eyes of high society. The nobility is watching, our every step. Father lays a hand on your shoulder. Oh dear. Do they wish to cast Gloria aside here? Now, this is your cause too. The future of our family depends on it. We need an estimable reputation and wealth. Everyone bearing the name of Brante affects it. Remember that with every action you take, Benedict. You will have to appear before Anisot High Society. We're going to host a reception for the nobility at our home soon. You must uphold the honour of our family, brother. You relate the news from Eterna to our guests and present yourself in a favourable light. With Stephen at the helm, the entire family spends a full week preparing for the majestic reception. The house is flooded with decorations, and the new table where delicacies are cooking in the kitchen, round the clock, and the napkins now bear an embroidered oak branch in chains, the Brante family crest. Gloria is the only one to neglect the common cause. Were it up to me, I wouldn't be seen at this hypocritical gathering. But I don't want to let Sir Robert down. He's the only reason I plan to stay for the event. The evening of the reception has come. Dignified conversations and the clinking of glasses fill the house. Among your guests are many high-born, powerful people. Your father and Stephen dance from guest to guest, making sure no one is overlooked. Ah, young Benedict, how splendid to see you. So, what was your time in the capital like? You exchange pleasantries with a high-placed relative. Meanwhile, Gloria and Mother spend the evening on a settee by the wall without drawing any attention. Neither your father nor your elder brother introduce them to the noble guests. Still, one of the guests, a young nobleman of the sword named José L. Pelletier, keeps staring at Gloria in fascination. Your sister averts her eyes, bemused. Lady Gloria, you are the true gem of the evening. You look so marvellously daring. I haven't seen your like even in the capital. When you walk past Gloria, you hear her hurried whisper. Benedict, please talk to me. This Sir L. Pelletier keeps following me. I feel uneasy. What does he want from me? I'm just a lowly commoner. Come with me to the other side of the room, although I'll probably still stand out among all these refined nobles. Look, it's Durante the painter. I wonder what's brought him so far from the capital. It would be fabulous if he could paint our family portrait. We should all be on canvas together. We're one big, happy family after all. Wineglass in hand, you cast a look across the crowded room. It is time to choose how you will spend the evening. Sharing news from the capital, presenting our mother and sister to the nobles, purchasing a family portrait. I don't think my mother and sister would want a fuss for this one. Kind of tempted though. Sharing news from the capital. We were asked to share news from the capital by our brother, and because of that, we're not doing it. I want to dance to his damn tune. But Gloria was quite happy to have a family portrait, and our mother is ill right now, so a family portrait could be a timeless way to remember the whole family by in the future. So we're going to go with that option. Decreases our wealth, clearly, but increases our reputation, our unity, also our manipulation and eloquence, which is also what we need. The artist is scrutinising the portrait of your grandfather on the wall of the sitting room. You will always remember grandfather like this, his heavy, searching look, his hawkish features, his imposing body, and the cane he kept in his hands at all times. As if by pure chance you pass by Durante and mention that the portrait was painted by a local artist. But surely Sir Durante's skill must be incomparably greater. Would he be interested in painting a group portrait of the entire Bronte family? At first, Durante politely declines. He must head back to the capital soon, and he has no time to spare for painting. But you remonstrate that you will pay any price, and his work will be seen by the highest society of Anisot. Durante eventually succumbs to your persuasion. You spend the night negotiating with the painter. A proper portrait will take a fair amount of time to paint, and Durante's prices are high. Convincing your family turns out to be just as challenging. Gloria will not pose in a dress or put her hair in a bun. Nathan has to be forced to cut his hair. Stephen insists that he must be drawn in the right of his, to the right of his father, with Gloria behind them. Eventually, you succeed in helping your family reach a consensus. The portrait is perfect. Your parents look dignified, hand in hand. Stephen stands proudly to their right. You, in your best attire, are to the left. Gloria brings some life to the painting with her unruly hair and daring outfit. Even Nathan seems to belong there. The portrait is proudly displayed above the fireplace in the sitting room. No one else in Magra has a portrait by Durante himself. This will emphasize our position. For once, Gloria agrees with her elder brother. At least on this canvas, we're all one family, whatever our estates may be. And we like that. There's always ways to get more family wealth in the future, I'm sure. We like that. But you also like a bit more eloquence, because that's going to be useful, I think. Manipulation, pretty cool too. Right, okay, so this is the final chapter before we call a close to today's session so I can have some supper. A rock and a hard place. The Bronte home has been uneasy for several months now. With father travelling all over the province for his judicial duties, the animosity between Stephen and Gloria has grown into a full-blown feud. Your elder brother tries to use his position as heir to keep his sister in check and make her behave in accordance with her estate. Gloria repudiates his authority. It's an interesting word. Their fights rock the house on a daily basis. Eventually, after returning from his latest trip, father gathers Stephen, Gloria, Nathan and you in his office. His sombre look portends a difficult conversation. Stephen gazes at his father defiantly. Gloria is poised to lash out and run away. Nathan quietly keeps to the side. Children, for a long time now, our family has been striving to become nobles of the sword. Every noble member of the Bronte family will gain a hereditary title. This is your grandfather's dying wish. Gloria sighs. Then why am I here, Sir Robert? She's right. This is a Bronte matter. Wait until I finish, Stephen. I am still the head of this household. If you are truly so concerned about honour, show your father some respect. Well said. It can't be helped. Not all of us are noble, but now we must be united as never before. We must work together to protect the reputation and wealth of this family. But you, Stephen, perpetually humiliate Gloria. Father, all I'm trying to do is put her in her place. You know perfectly well the consequences of any attention Gloria might attract. Our every step is being observed. The nobles will make pariahs of our family for all eternity if they remember Gloria's filthy origins and your reckless marriage to Lydia. Father turns red in the face, but with considerable effort, he remains composed. I'll give him a backhander. Boof. That is so. Our grandfather did everything in his power to remedy your mistakes. Please, Father, don't repeat them. Gloria speaks up. I'm just trying to live, Sir Robert, but Stephen wants to lock me in a cage so nobody will ever lay eyes on me. That's not it at all. You are low-born, but you don't live by your lot. You do whatever takes your fancy. You're constantly grumbling about the order of things. Did you know, Father, that she defies all prohibitions by continuing to write poetry? As far as you're concerned, anyone who contradicts you is an insurgent. When will you grasp the idea that you may not argue with a nobleman? I am the heir of this family, and my word is your law. Purple with rage, father slams his fist on the table. It is rare to see him so furious. Both your elder brother and sister instantly fall silent. Frightened, Nathan shrinks into a corner. Hold your tongues, both of you. Let Benedict speak. He has witnessed your quarrels. He should know best which of you is in the right. Defend Gloria. Thank you. Why not? You turn to Stephen abruptly and point your finger at him. It's no wonder Gloria fights back so fiercely. Stephen torments and chastises her incessantly. If your elder brother stops smothering every impulse Gloria has, she won't resist so viciously. You're a family after all, not a pack of wild animals, where the strong dominate the weak. Are you blaming me for her escapades, Benedict? Me, who selflessly labours to preserve our family name? This is outrageous. Father, will you really heed to his advice? Purple with rage, Stephen clenches his fists. Father rises from his seat, eyeing his eldest son gloomily. Benedict is right. Stephen, you have overstepped your bounds. I took Gloria into my house, so you, my son, must respect her and be considerate of her. Your origins do not give you the right to put such pressure on your sister. Stephen rushes out of the office and slams the door behind him. Gloria cannot conceal her joy upon hearing you and father chastise him. The little tyrant. That'll teach him that what goes around comes around. I hope he leaves me be from now on. Soon, rumours start circulating in Anisot, high society, suggesting that you are orchestrating a plot against Stephen, the legitimate heir of the family. It is not hard to guess who started those rumours. Now the entire city knows that there is trouble in the Bronte household. Oh, we just lost a bit of family reputation there, but hey-ho. Never mind. Okay, so 21. So we've got several steps in this chapter. It's going to be a long chapter, this one, folks. But we haven't got to the end of it just yet because, here we go. The Archduke and the Overseer. So, two powerful lords struggling for power. The Overseer, Gaius Tempest. And, of course, the Archduke Tarquinius Milanidas. Okay, so unwilling to accept that he is no longer the Overseer, the Archduke still stubbornly continues to assert his right to rule the province. Most of the Magran gentry who swore allegiance to him generations ago remain loyal to him even now. Gaius Tempest has publicly demanded that the Archduke recognise the Overseer's rule as legitimate. I am the voice and the will of Emperor Uthar II in the province of Magra. All lands, deeds and titles notwithstanding, Archduke Milanidas must obey his sovereign's will and heed to his decree. I hereby extend to the Archduke an offer of peace. Should the Archduke cease his insubordination, his lands, deeds and titles shall remain his own. The Archduke's response to the Overseer was openly defiant. Since the days of yore, the land of Magra has belonged to the Milanidas dynasty. We are part of the Empire and we are the Emperor's loyal servants. However, our dynasty will not stand for such intrusion upon our lawful rights and privileges. Never before has an Archduke been stripped of his right to represent the Emperor's rule in his own province. So do not forget, Sir Overseer, that the highest noble families of Magra have sworn fealty to me alone. Okay, dissension. Bad blood has festered for too long, and the people have begun to pay the price for their strife. Stripped of the Overseer's tax privileges, the Archduke Milanidas has decided to impose his own levy upon the citizens and villagers of Magra. The commoners are now forced to pay taxes twice, first to the Overseer and then to the Archduke. This double burden is too much for the common people of Magra to bear. Many have refused the second tax outright as a lawless measure, but the Imperial Legion, led by young Dorius Otten, is ruthless. Eagerly and without mercy, the Legion soldiers collect the Archduke's due in cities and villages alike. Wealth of Magra down. Discontent is growing. Power struggle. Swinging towards the commoners. A gift for the family. As much as I do wish to continue, I really may. It's quite harsh on the old vocal cords. Is this game? I've run out of juice, and I'm actually getting slightly peckish now that it's been what 9 hours, well 8 hours since I last had my feast. So we're going to end the session here. So yes, folks. Thank you for joining me for story time this Sunday as we continue with Father Brante here, or should we say Inquisitor Brante here, Inquisitor Benedict, as he continues to chart his path through priesthood. No deaths again today. Touching wood, we're still doing okay. I think things are still going to plan. I still think they're going to plan. I think we're doing a good job of being a phony Inquisitor. I'm just hoping for the big reveal at some point. Take that, Father Ulrich! It'll come. But yeah, next stream of this will probably be next Sunday, unless there's any cancellations at football this week. Next CK2 stream will be on Tuesday, with some F1 thrown in between. Tomorrow I'm going to Manchester, so I can't stream, so it's going to be Tuesday, CK2 Tuesday, but it will be definitely Tuesday, so fear not. So yes, enjoy the rest of your afternoons if you're further east, your evenings if you are where I am, and hopefully you'll have a good week ahead too, as the spring is about to spring upon us on the 21st of March, and then next Saturday the clocks go forward, so happy days. Extra daylight hours in the evening is always welcome. But yeah, thanks for watching. So go forth, enjoy the rest of what's left of your day, and hopefully see some of you on Tuesday for some more CK2 fun and games. So yes. What's going to happen next? Who knows? You'll have to join me next Sunday to find out. Until then, folks, have a good one, and I'll see you soon.